That was fast. Hola, witches.
Hello.
All right, so we're here with Starting Out Solitary, and this week's topic is your favorite crystals, and we decided to sort of alter it a little bit, and we're gonna take from Monday's show. And if you haven't watched Monday's show, you really should. We had a lot of fun. We talked a lot about your favorite crystals and how to work them into your craft. So tonight we're going to talk about how to use them. So taking your favorite crystals, what you enjoy about whatever crystal you work with, and how to use them in your craft. We're going to talk about crystals and jewelry. We're going to talk about how to utilize crystals to charge and imbue your recipes, your formulas with power. We're going to talk about crystal grids. So yeah, let's just start. Let's just have fun. So let's talk about jewelry. Miss Melissa, crystals and talismans, crystals and jewelry. What say you?
Well, I enjoy, even though I kind of suck at it, I enjoy using crystals, especially tumbles, in jewelry. And, of course you can get already polished and made pieces. But the reason why I like to make them instead of buy them is it's really challenging sometimes to find the crystals that you want. I like using them for different reasons. You feel different every day. So if I'm feeling a lot of irritation, wake up on the wrong side of the bed kind of mood, then I'll take a carnelian and put it in on a pendant, on a necklace, and have that around me, close to me, touching my skin. To me, that makes a big difference. You can tell the difference, or at least I can tell the difference from putting it in my pocket and carrying around in my pocket versus skin contact. It penetrates a little bit more. Yes, I should say. Sounds dirty, but you know what I mean.
Wow.
Yeah, and I like that. I like having the options of using different crystals in that way. I don't use the same ones all the time because, again, like I said, I feel different every day. So if I'm really irritable, I'll wear a carnelian. If I'm really dragging ass, can't wake up, all the coffee in the world is not helping, I'll grab an amethyst or a clear quartz, even though sometimes when you're dragging ass, a clear quartz can actually make you drag more ass. Because it just amplifies what you're already feeling. So it just depends. Citrine is really good. If you're kind of feeling down in the dumps, it has that happy, sunshiny feeling to it. So depending on what I need, I will use one as a pendant or an amulet. And you can even charge specific crystals during specific moon phases, days of the week.
Right.
To, bring out specific properties in that crystal.
Right.
So it has a specific purpose. Like if, your significant other is having, issues with balancing their emotions, like they get really high strung or irritated, a lot of road rage or whatever, you can use a tiger's eye, make them something, or with tiger's eye, or buy them something with tiger's eye for them to wear, and sort of even all that out to balance their emotions.
Yeah, I like that. You can also use Labradorite for.
Yeah.
I love using that for anxiety to help calm my shit, because especially like in different social situations, I have intense anxiety, and so I freak out, and so Labradorite helps me find myself. It helps me to calm down. It helps me to balance my energy, my emotions, and to really just like focus. And so having that on, I do have that in a pendant somewhere. I don't know where it is, but I do. But having that on me, I'll have one in my pocket, and I'll have one like touching skin somewhere. That helps. That helps a lot, especially when I'm going to be in a situation that I know that I'm not going to be in control of. So there's going to be, people that I don't really know. There's going to be a lot of people that I don't know. So when I put myself in those situations, I will have Labradorite and possibly like black tourmaline and smoky quartz, because all of those are great for, helping with anxiety, as well as transmuting intense energy and just negative thought programs and just other things that are coming at you. Those help to keep you grounded, as well as transform your perceptions on situations. So those three I really like to have on hand when I'm interacting with the world that I can't control.
Yeah.
But, jewelry is fun, having little pieces, big pieces, having all sorts of things on you. I think it's fun, and you can program jewelry, you can program the metals, you can program so much, and then having the different crystals, it gives it that extra power. And I really feel like, as practitioners, as witches, as mystics, we should have something that we can focus our power on, and utilize as like our own personal like talisman. And like you said, during like the full moon, during dark moons, during the new moon, bringing in energy, and not just on new moons, but when you go to sacred spaces, if you have a specific item that you always have on you, you can take in the energy with that specific item, and the more that it connects, the more that it takes in, the more power and influence and energy that it adjusts to, as well as it harnesses. So you can actually use that to connect with those sources, those different aspects at any time. Especially when you have, you have a chain and different crystals. The chain, most likely will hold on to that type of energy a little more and a little easier than a crystal, because crystals tend to return to their natural state after so long. So having something on a piece of jewelry that is going to remain the same, something that's going to take in that energy and taking that influence and not revert. That's really a good key when you're working magic with jewelry. But yeah, I like using Labradorite, smoky quartz, and black tourmaline for grounding, anxiety, and helping me to focus. I need some now. But it's simple, and you can create your own, y'all. You can create your own. I can't speak tonight. I'm so tired. But yeah, it's fun, and you should play with it. You should definitely create different items, or use different like necklaces, and play with different like metals and different crystals, and have them separate, and charge one at the full moon and have one at the new moon, and see how that interacts with you, see how that feels. And so when you're going for an interview, or you're going to make an impact on someone, when you have that need to show yourself off, you'll know which crystal to go to. It could be like a combination of carnelian and citrine, as well as maybe something to help calm the nerves, smoky quartz, something to project your voice, chrysocolla with quartz, just regular quartz. That can help project your voice. That can help get your point across and clearly communicate. So it's just fun, and keep those in mind. Whatever crystal you have, keep that in mind, but try to incorporate it with a piece of jewelry and wear it and meditate with it, and see how your situation changes, maybe like a week to a month with it on you. You can take it off every so often, but just have it on you, consistently.
Right. Yeah.
Jazz. Yeah, so that was that, y'all. Oh my gosh. Okay, so let's talk about working with crystals, because we love to create stuff. So working with crystals and how we use them, and how people can use them in influencing herbal blends and oils and different products.
Ooh, yes. I love doing that. Whenever I make a scrub, like a salt scrub or a sugar scrub, I really enjoy using crystals to charge that product. And occasionally I will use crystals to charge, listen to me, to charge different ingredients that are going to go into that product. Like for my, I use a mixture of sea salt and dead sea salt in my salt scrubs. So I already have that mixture pre-mixed, and I keep a couple of crystals in the bowl with it, usually like clear quartz, you know, to keep that energy going. Because pretty much all salt scrubs, one of the main functions is to purify.
Right.
You know, I mean, that's why I use salt to begin with. So to purify and relax, maybe even connect to a specific element, you know, like the sea in general, you know. So clear quartz is great to keep in there, and I just keep it in there all the time. You know, I'll take out the quartz whenever they need to be recharged if I feel like they're kind of draining. But the wonderful thing about salts is it pretty much keeps its own like properties pretty solidly. So whenever when you add clear quartz into it, it's like a continuous flow of energy. They don't need to be recharged too often. So anyway, but yeah, that's what I do. I'll take some ingredients and I'll charge it with specific crystals, and then whenever I'm done, I may decide to charge that product. So once I have it packaged, I will place crystals like around it or on top of it. I don't necessarily grid it per se, because I save grids for different purposes that we can discuss when we're talking grids, but I'm wanting the energy of those crystals to influence the energy of that, you know, material thing, whether it's a scrub or an herbal blend or an oil. In fact, with my herbal blends, I like to just place the crystals in the herbal blend after I'm done with it.
Right.
And just let it set overnight in my bowl, in my hearth bowl that I just, you know, whatever bowl I'm using to create, mix it all in together. Oh my God, I am so rambling. But yeah, that's what I do.
That's the nature of this day and this evening. It appears.
I know, apparently. But that's what I do, and I just let them sit, and kind of like having a pot on simmer. They just kind of do their thing overnight during a specific moon phase or a specific day of the week. And I try to make sure that everything kind of blends well and connects well to each other.
Right.
So, and after I do that, I always, well, I guess it just depends, but mostly I take the crystals out and then cleanse them and recharge them later. But it just depends. Sometimes they get a really nice energy that I like to keep from that product.
Right. Yeah.
Later for other workings.
Yes, I don't like that. I like that at all, actually. And you know, I'm very similar in how I charge, like, you know, different oils and different formulas. Some of my oils I will grid, and usually the reason I grid something is because a lot of my oils can't talk, y'all. Oh my God. A lot of my products they're spirited. They have a lot of energy. They have spirit to them, and so I grid them because gridding you have a little more power in a sense with them. You have more control. You kind of have like more of like a gateway. Like you open something and you're able to really focus and use something, almost like giving birth to something in a very serious way, a very distinct way. But I will take certain crystals, you know, garnet, gems, and let's say I'm making my lust dust, and I have each. What I'll do is I'll take whatever I need, and I'll place like a specific crystal on one of the herbs, on each herb. So like I'll have garnet possibly with, let's say, cinnamon. I might have garnet and cinnamon and have that essence connect, and I focus on that. I'll put my hands over, you know, the crystals, and ooh, yes. But I'll have my hands over the crystals, and I'll channel. I'll focus on the energy. I'll focus on the intent, and I'll push that essence, from the center of the earth. I'll bring it up, and then I'll push it through me into the crystal, activating the garnet, telling the garnet what I need it for and what we're doing here, and why we're filtering the earth energy, cosmic essence, and through me, the witch, into the crystal, activating those properties of the crystal, and then that crystal is going into the herb, let's say cinnamon, and communicating with cinnamon and activating those specific properties that I'm, programming it to. So it sounds complex, but it's very simple. That's kind of how it breaks down. And then I will use like carnelian and mix it. I kind of, I'll take carnelian and place it on patchouli.
Yeah.
I do have patchouli in my lust dust, and I will, call forth the carnelian's like very almost aggressive nature, energetic nature, very fiery and powerful nature, and I will filter that through and put it into the patchouli, and that's the very grounding nature, very earthy, very lusty nature, and it'll interact with each other, and there you go, there you have it. And I'll do that like Melissa does, and do it individually, and then as I grind, because I'll grind up my shit, I'll grind it, and I'll focus on what I'm doing. I'll focus on the purpose of the blend, and as I'm doing so, I'll probably have like crystals around it as I'm doing that, and then I'll be getting all crazy over here, talking to crystals as I'm grinding my herbs and focusing my essence and listening and putting all of that into the work that I'm doing. And then afterwards, I'll store it. And usually what I'll store it with is probably like clear quartz to amplify the essence and to also bring it all together. I find that clear quartz is great for almost like binding. Clear quartz with a little bit of black obsidian. And for my lust dust, I'll have either like garnet, sometimes red jasper, but something red or orangey. And I'll have those three in, and it'll connect everything. It'll connect my intent for the lust dust. It'll connect the energies that are separate. It'll help bring it all, together as one.
Yes. I like that. Yes. And that's what I like to do. I mean, I always have crystals, even like if I'm creating a specific meal for my family, because tension's been high, a lot of stress, and so I want something that is imbued with like loving, calming, let's all just chill for a bit. I'll have crystals on my stove. I'll have crystals next to, on my little rolly cart where I chop everything up in, and I'll even throw crystals in with like the herbs, the jar of herbs or whatever, while I'm cooking to add that distinctive energy that I need to create that recipe. So, and create that meal, and it helps. So, I mean, you can use crystals to enhance what you're doing no matter what it is, really.
Right. And obviously crystals scientifically produce, they give off energy, we know that, and so we just connect with them and we utilize them. So if you want to utilize them for your meditations, for prayer, for you interact with them, you can, like you said, imbue your food with crystal energy. Obviously, you don't want to be putting like crystals that are poisonous in water.
Right. Or ones that dissolve in water.
Yeah.
Like, don't be throwing your selenite in your soup. It's not going to work.
Oh, no. But you can even, so if there is a crystal that's poisonous, you don't want to place it in the water, but you can place it outside. Like if you want its power, its influence to help you, you can place it, like grid it or place it on the outside of something and push that energy directed towards what you're doing. but don't put it in anything that you're going to consume because you'll poison yourself and you could die. That's not good.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
So okay, and that's kind of like the basis of how we use crystals to charge, different formulas. It's a little different than gridding. So let's talk about gridding a little bit. Let's talk about how we grid and why we grid, and maybe the slight difference of gridding versus how we charge our formulas.
Right. Well, to me, gridding is more about you have a specific purpose for the entire grid. Each crystal you collect, you put it together for a specific goal. And yes, charging your formula and stuff, you do the same, but it's not necessarily all the crystals' energies working together as much as gridding is. With gridding, you're connecting each energy, the energy of each crystal, so they all sort of combine together to help you enact a specific purpose. Where with charging formulas, you're just like, okay, I really like the energy of this cherry quartz, so, I'm going to charge my, vanilla with that because I think it's going to have a great energy. You're not really trying to make, you're not trying to make it work with the garnet that's charging your cinnamon necessarily.
Right.
You charge cinnamon with the garnet because you want that garnet specific energies in the cinnamon, and you want the cherry quartz specific energies in the vanilla, and then you mix the cinnamon and vanilla together.
Right.
So, but with gridding, you want to take a cherry quartz, and I know I had, I don't know what I did with it. I know I had. Anyway, pretend I have a clear quartz, and you take a clear quartz and you amplify that. Or maybe you want cherry quartz and carnelian because you want that really lovey, flirty, aspect to be, combined with the whole almost aggressive, very lusty, energy of carnelian. So both those energies will work together.
Right.
And you connect them with, I usually connect mine with clear quartz. I mean, I will have clear quartz in between just about every crystal I use because that just amplifies everything. And then whatever your purpose for your grid, I mean, you don't have to. Sometimes you just build a grid and it has a specific purpose all on its own. You could use that grid to charge something like a candle or whatever. Even a mojo bag, really, if you wanted to, that would be a pretty good use. You just focus all that energy into the mojo bag. Personally, whenever I make grids, they serve their own purpose, and that's what they're there for. They do their own magic. They're not charging anything. They are the spell.
Right.
And that's how I use grids. It just depends on what I want to accomplish. Like if I want to enhance my success, and as well as sort of boost my finances, I might on a Sunday create a crystal grid with like green tourmaline and pyrite, and maybe add a little selenite to kind of amp up those vibes, kind of like throwing in sage to a money spell, and grid all that together with some clear quartz.
Ooh, I like it.
And things like that.
Yeah, and honestly, and usually when you're working with a grid, you're working with a pattern. So you're working with, and it does come intuitively and instinctually, but with the grid, a lot of people utilize specific patterns. You can find online geometric patterns and different things like that have and produce power. So you can use different patterns that call out to you and that align with your purpose. So if you see, let's say you're trying to work on seeing clearly and work on your psychic senses, you might do like a triangle and then have something that represents a third eye in the triangle. You might just have like a crystal grid that's like an eye. So it just depends, but you can align it with, the format of your desire. So psychic sense, third eye, create that grid. And what you do with the grid is you'll connect them. I usually, no matter what grid I'm doing, I'll normally have like quartz like at the corners of the grid, or even most often I'll have them with the grid, like interacting with each crystal. So I'll have, let's say, black obsidian is great for psychic senses. You just have to be careful with it. So I'll have like quartz, black obsidian, quartz, black obsidian, and I'll intermix it. And I might have some other, things that associate with psychic senses, channeling, whatever my desire is. But I will then take usually a little pointer quartz and interconnect the energies of the crystals. And so I'll connect this crystal, but usually I'll have like a focal point at the center. So I'll go from one crystal to the center, back to the next crystal, just revving up that essence, revving up that energy, and all pushing it towards something. So pushing it towards like a focal point.
Right.
And grids have a huge influence. They generate a lot of power, a lot of energy, because you're using so many different crystals. You're activating them, and then you're connecting them. So you're hooking them up to each other like a big ass battery. It's like huge. And so that's, gridding, that's fun. But it's very intense. And it just generates a lot of energy. So if you have one in your room, that's you're using it to boost your energy, because you want to stay motivated, you want to have a lot of energy because you're trying a new workout program. If you keep that in your room and you wonder why you can't sleep, that might be it, because you're creating so much energy. And crystals, again, scientifically, they produce energy. So once you activate them, that could be the reason you're being influenced, because there's too much energy going on in the room, and
right,
because of it. But yeah, grids are fun. Grids are necessary, and play with them. You don't have to have like a specific layout. Just whatever you feel intuitively called to. Lay out your crystals, intermix them, connect their energies, and then push it to your focal point.
Right, exactly. And for me, I like to do a lot of my crystal grid work on specific altars, because even after it's done what it needs to do, once it's focus, its energy that has been focused is released and sent on its way to accomplish its task, that residual energy from all those crystals, and even with a small grid, they are still super powerful. It lingers. So if I'm going to do a grid to improve my finances, I'm going to do it on my money altar. I'm not going to do it on like my main altar necessarily. I'm going to do it on my money altar. So I'm always pretty particular about where I place a crystal grid,
right,
because the leftover energy is going to hang around for a while. So if you're doing a crystal grid to give you motivation, even if you take it down, if you do it in your bedroom, you still might not sleep for a couple of nights, because that energy is going to be lingering about. So you can, I would do it like in wherever I do my workout. Like if it's in my living room, then
right. That's smart.
So that's just something to be, just to think about when you are creating and setting a crystal grid.
Right.
They are a lot of fun, and you can have a lot of fun with them.
Right, and you can get crafty with them, honestly. Like, let's say your child or you are experiencing night terrors. You can actually take where you sleep, if you have, I can't talk, y'all, but underneath your bed, where your head would be, do a grid with, like, again, very simple, what most witches have on hand. Black tourmaline, smoky quartz, amethyst, to help transmute that energy when you're sleeping. You can even utilize herbs in grids, so possibly use some sage for this purpose, because sage is great at uplifting the spirits and uplifting energy. So when you're experiencing night terrors, you have that lower vibration, you have that very fear-tactic or scary essence. And so as it is produced, your grid is working to transmute that. So it's working to, bless you with better dreams and better dream experiences, but at the same time, it's taking all that scary essence and making it beneficial for you. So you can do that if you're trying to, get knocked up. You want to try to have a baby. You can grid your bed or wherever it is y'all are getting kinky. But you can do a grid for that. And obviously, you can use patchouli. You can utilize damiana. You can utilize cherry quartz, regular quartz, fire agate. Fire agate is really, really good at getting people knocked up. Let me just say that. You want a baby, utilize fire agate. And then, if you have statues that are, fertility statues, incorporate those in your grid. So it just
you can incorporate seeds in your grid, because there's nothing better if you knocked up than planting a seed.
Exactly. I mean, honestly, really. And figs. There's just so many different things you can incorporate. They don't have to be crystals. You could use Shiva lingams. So many different things. Have fun with it, but just decide what you need to achieve, and then create a grid. And if you want to do it intuitively, decide your desire, set your intent, and then the first crystals that pop into your head, write them down, then study them and see how their energies will interact with each other, and see how that actually is going to benefit you manifesting what you want.
Right. And you don't necessarily have to have points to create a crystal grid. I mean, I know you see a lot of crystal grids, and they're all like perfectly symmetrical, pointed, just beautiful. You don't let that stop you from creating a crystal grid. If all you have is a bunch of tumbles, use them.
Yeah.
I mean, use them anyway. It's fine. And in fact, a lot of times when I don't feel like dragging out and finding my clear quartz points, because I have like a whole bunch of them in a bag that I lose constantly. I don't even mess with it. I'll just grab I have a ton of clear quartz all the time, everywhere. And so I just grab those and I'll stick the tumbles in, whatever. I know what direction I want the energy to go, and I set it up in that way. The way you place the crystals down, and I communicate with my crystals. So I'm like, hey, y'all are going to do this. Okay? This way, and it's all going to be focused on this thing.
Right.
Got it? So don't feel like you have to have specific, shaped crystals in order to make a crystal grid. You don't. It might not look as, symmetrical or whatever, but that doesn't matter. The look is not necessarily important. The shape, yes. The crystals you use, yes, but the way they look, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I mean, that's a perfect segue to talking a little bit about like the shapes and such of crystals, and what Melissa's talking about is usually in crystals, like crystal grids, we'll have like double terminated, and that means like there's a point on this side and there's a point on this side. And usually when you're using them for crystal gridding, that means when you're transmuting energy or you're moving energy, the crystal is putting energy that way and it's throwing energy that way, and so it acts as a connector. And like this right here, this crystal, energy would be coming from here, and it would be directed out through that point.
Right.
So that's kind of what, double terminated. I can't fucking talk, y'all. Shit. But you get what I'm trying to say. That's what you utilize. That's what you utilize those crystals for. If you don't have them, that's cool. But if you do have them, that's what they're there for. You want to make sure that two-pointed crystal is going somewhere. You wouldn't want your like one point to be going somewhere and the one point like out, because that energy would be out, in the backyard somewhere. So you want to make sure that's flowing. So if you do have a double terminated crystal, make sure that those points are a part of your entire grid.
Right. And when I don't, I still use the pointed, even in like especially raw, because I mean you can tell this has an obvious point here, an obvious point here. And so that's what I focus on. To me, that's just kind of instinctive. You know your crystals. I mean, if I was going to use this one, I'd obviously set it. I mean, it kind of already looks like an arrow going this way. So you know your crystals, and
I don't like crystals.
I know.
I have so many of these. I don't know. But
I don't have any. I guess I need to get some.
I'll have to send you some. But yeah, phallic crystals obviously are going to be utilized to channel that essence. And again, perfect for, planting the seed, perfect for, that essence and infertility. So yeah, you have that, absolutely. And they can be great for malediction as well. So if you want to stop someone's nature, if you want to, give someone a limp dick, crystal dicks are perfect for that too. Then we have like crystals in the shape of angels, Melissa's favorite subject.
Yeah.
It helps you connect with like a higher realm essence. Angelic shapes help you to connect with, angels, obviously, but not just angels, spirit guides, messengers, anything associated with flight. So you can work with angels to connect with that higher essence. There's
hearts. I don't have but I have a ton of rose quartz hearts.
Yeah.
And selenite. I think I have a selenite heart around here somewhere. So those are good for obvious reasons. Yes, but skulls are fun.
Oh, look at these skulls. Yes. And obviously we work with skulls to connect with the mind, to connect with the dead, to communicate with those who have crossed over, or those who are still earthbound. Basically, skulls are perfect to step over and to connect with the realm of the dead. And not necessarily like the higher realm, but when Aunt Sally kicks it and you want to communicate with her, we work with skulls for that. And to honor ancestors.
Yes. Yeah. I can't think of any more. I mean, they come in all kinds of shapes. You can get little people shapes. You can get all kinds of shapes to work with. So teardrop shapes, just all kinds.
Yeah, and honestly, when it comes to shapes, it's very self-explanatory. So yeah, hopefully, y'all, you've had a great time experiencing our rambles and our inability to communicate properly, obviously, tonight. But yeah, we had fun sharing what we know about crystals and a little bit of what we know, at least. And hopefully you can take what we have said and utilize it in your own practice. If you have any comments, questions, whatever, comment below. And let us know. Let us know what you think about the video. If you want anything else, let us know. If you have any questions about specific crystals, you can find us on our own channels or on Facebook on our own pages, Deviant Witch and Dreadful Mystic, and ask us questions, and we'll definitely do our best to be of service and to respond to you.
Definitely.
But yes, until next time, y'all, we'll talk to you later. Peace.
Bye.